Do you know how to lengthen a flared skirt without adding fullness at the hem? It's a little trickier than you might imagine because of the shape of the pattern pieces. I have some mini flared skirt pieces here, and I just want to show you what the challenge is. If I wanted to lengthen this pattern piece, and I'm just going to cut off a little strip of this, okay, and I'm just going to tape it. Let me turn it upside down so you can see the difference in paper. I'm going to go ahead and tape it to the bottom edge of my skirt like this. All right, so I'm just going to do that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my side seam and my center front back down the amount that I want to add. So let's say for this example I want to add a few inches. So on this little pattern piece it would be, you know, probably I'm going to add let's add an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and extend my lines an inch, which I just had enough paper there and there. All right, and let me just tape that down a little better now that I drew there. All right, so you can see that we can also measure across the bottom that inch like this. So I'm just lining up the inch line with the original hem, and I'm just marking it like this. Okay, so this is a way to extend the length of your skirt. You know, we added all of this, but as you can see, we're also adding to the flare of the hem. So if you're working on a garment that you don't want any more width at the hem, let me show you another way to do it. Again, if it doesn't matter to you that you're adding width or more fullness at the hem, this is a very easy, quick and down and dirty way to do it, because because you're just adding to the bottom. Now let me show you. I'm going to get another skirt piece here. So let's say this time I'm going to add length, but I'm not going to add it to the hem. So in this case, I'm going to measure up, and you can either measure down from the waist edge or up from the hem edge. And I'm going to go ahead and make a curved line that agrees with the shape of the hem, like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to cut that. Okay, then I'm going to add some paper. Let me just get myself I'm going to need 2 pieces, so let me just get 2 pieces of paper here. All right, so the first piece of paper is I'm going to take it and I'm going to tape it to the lower part of the skirt like this. All right, and then I'm going to extend my lines up like this. I'm only going to extend the center front, center back line up. So this is my center front and my center back, or my center back, whatever. So I've extended that up, okay, like that. And then I'm going to measure what I need to add, you know, that inch. And just so you can see it better, I'm going to just mark, this is the original edge of that I cut, so you can see the silver line. I'm just going to measure up that inch like this all the way around until I get to this end over here. And then I can go ahead and draw that line just as a guide, but you can see I've added the same amount that I added to the hem over here, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this back on. And when I tape it back on, I'm going to line it up with my center front and center back edge. So you can see what happens is now I have all of this extra over here, right? So if I were to add to my side seam here, I would be adding it all the way down. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some paper here, like this. Okay, I'm going to connect the original hem, which is right here, with the original waist, which is up there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm splitting the difference and I'm skimming a little bit off of the full hip area, but then I'm coming straight back down to where the hem is, so I'm not adding any extra to the hem. I am adding a little bit of fullness here, just a little bit, right? The only thing that changed is over here, and I'm going to color it in a different color. Okay, you can see up here, I'm getting rid of that tiny little sliver of fabric. I just colored it pink. So you can see that little bit right there, okay, gets trimmed off. Like let's say you really needed it right around the waist, you could go in and shape it and then bring it back down, make a little bit of a hip curve here. So if you're cutting off the hip curve, you can go ahead and shape it in and then bring yourself back down to the original, you know, the original side seam like that. All right, so that's the least invasive way that I can think of to lengthen a flared skirt without adding anything extra to the hem and maintaining the shape if you need to. So I just thought this was a quick little fun Fit Tip Tuesday for today. I figure if one person asks me, then there may be some more that needed to know. So that's how you do it. If you have any questions or comments, please post those below and I will help you. If you're enjoying my content, consider liking and subscribing to my channel because it helps me grow. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.